We are opening the Statistics Division segment with a video on the importance of population and housing censuses, the cornerstone for understanding who we are and how we live. Censuses provide the most comprehensive portrait of a nation, creating the evidence base for decisions that shape everyday life. Please enjoy the video, Making Everyone Count: Why the Census Matters.
Hello and welcome. When you hear the word census, what comes to your mind? For many people, it's just a head count, a simple tally of people. But a population and housing census is so much more. It's the most comprehensive statistical portrait of a nation. It's a detailed snapshot taken at a single moment in time. It tells us not just how many people there are, but who we are, where we live, and how we live, creating the evidence we need for decisions that shape our everyday lives. Today, we're going to explore why the census matters. We will explore its fundamental role in making sure every community gets its fair share. This is about the equitable allocation of national resources using hard data to determine where funding for essential services like schools and healthcare is needed most. It's how we ensure that a small, remote village has the same claim to national resources as a bustling city, directly supporting the vital principles of leaving no one behind. We will also examine how the census acts as the foundation for all other national statistics. This comprehensive count provides the baseline and sampling frame that all other national surveys, such as those on employment, health, or education, rely on for their own accuracy. Finally, we will also cover how the census is essential for ensuring fair political representation. A census determines how many people live in each area, which is the basis for drawing electoral boundaries. This process ensures that every person's vote carries equal weight and that all individuals, no matter where they live, are counted and properly represented in government. So why do we undertake this enormous, complex, and costly task? The answer is simple. Census data is the bedrock of good governance and smart planning, serving as the fundamental objective evidence required to manage a nation fairly and to plan effectively for its future. The census serves as the fundamental tool for policymaking and public administration, transforming governance from a matter of guesswork into a data-driven science. After all, how can a government possibly plan for the nation's future without a clear and accurate understanding of the very people it serves? Census data tells us where to build new schools, where we need more hospitals and health clinics, and where to invest in public services like transportation, sanitation, and electricity. It ensures that funding and resources are distributed fairly and efficiently based on where people actually live and not where we think they do. It's also essential for our democracy. The census is used for boundary delimitation, the official process of drawing electoral districts. This ensures that each person's vote carries equal weight and that our elected officials truly represent the communities they serve. Beyond government, the census is also a vital tool for business, industry, and labor. Companies use the data to understand consumer markets, decide where to open new stores, new factories, or offices, and identify where to find the workforce they need. This drives economic growth and creates jobs. And in many regions of the world, the census is indispensable for humanitarian and emergency preparedness. In the event of a natural disaster, census data tells emergency responders how many people live in an affected area, including vulnerable groups like the elderly or persons with disabilities, allowing for effective and targeted relief efforts. Finally, housing census gives us a a clear picture of our living conditions. It helps us formulate housing policy, assess the quality of our housing stock, measure overcrowding, and identify areas that need improvement or new development. The census is more than just a standalone project. It is the cornerstone of the entire national statistical system, a foundation that ensures all other government surveys and data collection efforts are accurate, representative, and reliable. The census provides the master list or sampling frame for all other national surveys. When you see statistics on employment, health, or household spending, those surveys were likely designed using the census as their foundation. A sampling frame is the statistical universe from which we draw smaller representative groups for these more detailed surveys. Without a quality census, the accuracy of all other surveys is compromised. It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. The census also serves as benchmark for administrative data. We have a wealth of information from sources like birth and death registrations, tax records, and school enrollments. The census allows us to check the quality and completeness of this data, helping to identify gaps or inconsistencies. Increasingly, we are seeing the power of integrating different data sources. By linking census data with geospatial information, we can create detailed maps that show not just where people live, but also their proximity to services or their exposure to environmental risks. This integration provides a much richer, more detailed, and actionable picture of our society. The way we conduct the census has transformed significantly, moving from traditional paper-based methods, which were slow, expensive, and prone to error, toward more modern, efficient, and cost-effective approaches. One of the biggest changes is the adoption of digital data collection. Many enumerators now use tablets or smartphones for copy, or computer-assisted personal interviewing. This technology improves data quality with real-time validation checks. For instance, flagging an impossible answer right at the source and speeds up the entire process by eliminating manual data entry. We're also seeing a rise in online self-response, where households can fill out their census forms securely over the internet at a time that works best for them, offering convenience and reducing costs. Perhaps the most significant transformation is the increasing use of administrative data. Instead of asking every question in the field, we can leverage existing trusted data from other government sources like civil registration, tax files, or health records. A combined census blends this administrative data with a field survey. And in some cases, a register-based census can produce a full census entirely from these administrative sources, reducing costs significantly and lessening the burden on the public. The census is a massive and complex undertaking, a partnership between government and the people. But its success depends on one simple, powerful action: your participation. Every response makes the national picture clearer and more accurate. All the technology we have means nothing without your participation. When you fill out your census form, you're doing more than just answering questions. You are ensuring your community is seen, heard, and counted, claiming your place in the official portrait of your nation. You're providing the essential evidence needed for good decision making. This data is the foundation that allows leaders and planners to make informed choices, moving beyond guesswork to allocate resources with precision. It ensures that policies designed to help our communities are based on fact and not on assumptions. This is what shapes the future of our nation for the next decade and beyond. Furthermore, you're helping to build a more inclusive and well-informed society for all. A well-informed society is one where everyone, from researchers and journalists to local leaders and everyday citizens, can access and understand the true data-backed needs of our communities. This fosters transparency, promotes public understanding, and empowers us all to participate more effectively in building a better future. So, when the time comes, when the enumerator knocks on your door, or when the form arrives online or through the mail, stand up and be counted. Because when we make everyone count, we empower our communities and build a better future together. Thank you.
The United Nations Statistics Division is committed to helping countries produce high-quality data to drive progress towards gender equality. To showcase some of our recent work, we invite you to watch a short video highlighting key moments and insights from the 10th Global Forum on Gender Statistics, a global platform bringing together data producers and users to strengthen gender data for a more equal world.
We now turn to an overview of the power of geospatial information, especially when integrated with statistics in designing and implementing and monitoring targeted policies, driving local action, and tracking global progress.
We will now showcase how the United Nations Statistics Division and the global statistical community drive progress on the Sustainable Development Goals through data, innovation, and partnerships.
10 years into the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the world stands at a crossroads. Progress has been made, yet far too many people and places are being left behind. We want to tell the story of our collective journey, the data behind our achievements, the challenges that persist, and the opportunities that lie ahead. Because every data point represents a person and every goal represents a promise. Over the past decade, the global statistical community has transformed the landscape of sustainable development data. Nearly 70% of SDG indicators now have regular data, more than double the coverage of 10 years ago. But data gaps persist, especially in climate action, gender equality, sustainable cities, and governance. The UN's mission is to ensure every country has the data it needs to deliver on the SDGs, through coordination, innovation, and global collaboration. The United Nations Statistics Division coordinates the global statistical system, uniting over 50 custodian agencies and every national statistical office. Together, we set standards, ensure comparability, and bring global data together to measure SDG progress in a coherent and trusted way. The SDG report is the world's benchmark for progress, bringing together data from across the UN system and all countries. It shows where the world stands, what's improving, and where action is lagging. Beyond statistics, the report tells the story of people, resilience, and urgency. With just 5 years remaining, we've made remarkable progress. But it's not enough. The 2025 SDG report reveals that only 35% of SDG targets are on track or making moderate progress, with nearly half moving too slowly, and 18% are regressing below 2015 baseline levels. The last decade proves that transformation is possible. Millions have gained access to essential services. For the first time, more than half of the world's population is now covered by at least one social protection benefit. Maternal and child mortality rates have fallen. More than 100 million children and youth have entered school, with rising completion rates at all levels. More young people, especially girls, are also completing school. Women's representation in parliaments has increased to 27%, up from 22% in 2015. 45 countries have achieved universal electricity access in the past decade, and access to clean cooking has expanded globally. Internet connectivity has increased by 70%, opening new avenues for young people, communities, civil society, and local leaders to deliver on the SDGs. Despite these important gains, the convergence of conflicts, climate chaos, geopolitical tensions, and economic shocks continue to obstruct progress at the pace and scale needed to meet our 2030 commitment. Developing countries also face a $4 trillion financing gap annually. We face a global development emergency, with unprecedented challenges across multiple fronts. Over 800 million people remain trapped in extreme poverty. Carbon dioxide levels have reached the highest point in over 2 million years, with 2024 being the hottest year on record, surpassing the 1.5-degree threshold. Peace and security have deteriorated significantly, with more than 120 million people forcibly displaced from their homes, more than double the number in 2015. Debt servicing costs in low and middle-income countries reached a record $1.4 trillion, squeezing resources vital for sustainable development. The time to act is now, and the path forward lies in accelerating the 6 SDG transitions: food systems, energy, digital connectivity, education, jobs and social protection, and climate and biodiversity. In addition, as a companion report to the SDG Progress Report, UNSD in collaboration with UN Women produces the annual Gender Snapshot, which is now in its 7th edition. The report has a key focus on gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls, SDG 5, as well as cross-cutting gender dimensions across all other SDGs. The next 5 years will determine our future. The SDGs are within reach, if we act with urgency and ambition. We need robust multilateralism, sustained investment, and unwavering political will. Because only if we act together can we keep the promise of the 2030 Agenda. Through the Global SDG Indicators database, anyone can explore national trends, visualize gaps, and access metadata. The UN Data for SDGs platform turns numbers into knowledge. By making SDG data open and transparent, UNSD helps governments, journalists, and citizens use evidence to drive change. The United Nations Statistics Division launched the Global SDG Indicators Data Platform in September 2021, further enhancing access to SDG data and metadata through improved visualization and user-friendly features. This platform is powered by the Global SDG Indicators database, which has served as the official source for global SDG monitoring since 2016. As of the 19th of September 2025, the database includes data for 232 of the 234 unique indicators, covering over 3.3 million data records. An accompanying metadata repository provides detailed methodological information for each indicator. The database and the metadata repository are maintained by the Statistics Division and contain data and metadata provided by custodian agencies. To ensure current and reliable information, major updates are released quarterly. Each update undergoes a comprehensive validation process to ensure data quality, consistency, and transparency. The platform's interactive tools make it easy to visualize global trends across all 17 goals. Users can explore data availability and perform trend analysis using area filters, and download customized datasets to support research, reporting, and policy development. The Global SDG Indicators data platform continues to evolve. Making data open, reliable, and easy to use empowers everyone to review trends and take action toward achieving the SDGs. In addition, we also have the UN Data for SDGs platform, which uses natural language queries to instantly visualize progress across countries and indicators. The Data for Now initiative accelerates the use of innovative data sources and technologies to fill urgent gaps. With partners like the World Bank, GPSDD, UNDP, and SDSN, we help countries harness satellite imagery, mobile data, and citizen information to complement traditional surveys. From real-time poverty estimates to climate impact mapping, Data for Now shows that innovation and official statistics can work hand in hand.
With support from global partners, Senegal and Sierra Leone have modernized their IT architecture, making data collection and analysis faster and better.
The Data for Now has been very helpful for the national statistical system for Senegal, in the sense that we will not only receive the capacity building, but there are 4 indicators that were successfully calculated.
In Colombia, the National Statistics Office is using satellite imagery to help policy leaders understand why children drop out of school.
Thanks to the help of Data for Now, we were able to produce a multidimensional poverty indicator, which are very complex to produce because they will need many data about it. But what was really interesting on this help that you provided for us was the technical advancement that we could do of merging geospatial data and the data that we had on our surveys and the censuses.
While Kyrgyzstan is using geospatial data for urban planning.
Our new challenges help us to understand that we need to use different data sources, and including administrative data, non-traditional data, and geospatial data. As a first step, we are going to develop our roadmap on the national level and try to improve our capacity.
These are all real-world impact stories of the Data for Now initiative, making data work for everyone. Through this initiative, we are helping countries unlock the power of data, protect people's privacy, and fight for inclusion. Together, we're shaping a sustainable future.
Innovation works best when it's supported by strong systems. That's why UNSD is helping countries unlock the potential of administrative data, from education and health records to business and environmental registries. Through global collaboration, we are supporting countries by providing practical tools, guidance, and a platform to share experiences and lessons learned, to make admin data a core pillar of national statistical systems.
This collaborative allows to be seated in the same board different actors working with administrative data.
Being a member of the collaborative, we get to learn a lot on the best practices in the field of administrative data.
We share experiences among the countries or NSOs to help us working together.
There are many ongoing initiatives focusing on only one domain, like business registers or CRVS, while this collaboration gathers them all and thereby moving us out of the silos which we tend to operate in, so we can learn from each other also across the different domains.
To strengthen coordination at the country level, UNSD created the Global Network of Data Officers and Statisticians, connecting over 3,300 UN data officers, national and global statisticians, data scientists, and geospatial information experts worldwide.
Launched on World Statistics Day 2020, the Global Network has grown into a vibrant community. Through webinars and exchanges, it has fostered global connections on key topics like climate change, health, migration, and the SDGs. And it is built on the 4 Cs: connection, coordination, collaboration, and capacity development. More than a platform, it's a space to share best practices and elevate the role of statistics in shaping a better future. As we mark 5 years of progress, stay connected through our newsletter and engage with peers worldwide. Together, we make statistics matter for everyone, everywhere.
The UN World Data Forum is where the global data community connects. Since 2017, it has brought together statisticians, governments, civil society, and private sector innovators. It delivered the Cape Town Global Action Plan, the Bern Data Compact for the Decade of Action, and now Medellin Framework for Action on Data for Sustainable Development. The forum turns commitments into collaboration, shaping the future of data for sustainable development. The 6th Forum will take place between 9 and the 12th of November 2026 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
This forum has become a critical space for bringing data communities together, showcasing solutions, and nurturing partnerships to make data for all a reality.
look forward to welcoming all participants of the UN Statistical Commission's World Data Forum in 2026 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Citizens play a dual role as both users and producers of data, serving as active agents in shaping evidence for sustainable development. Around the world, communities are mapping informal settlements, tracking waste, and monitoring local services. UNSD supports countries in leveraging these data responsibly through frameworks for quality, interoperability, and inclusion. Citizen-generated data expands what we know and ensures no one and no place is invisible.
Today, we see data being discussed at a political level and have come to understand the value of data as a strategic asset, key to making better decisions to support people and planet. We urgently need to invest in better data to ensure that no one is left behind. The launch of the new program on citizen-generated data to empower individuals and communities to contribute to data production, take control of their data, and improve their lives.
Francesca, first please tell us what citizen-generated data is.
Well, citizens contribute to data in many different ways. From the traditional data collection program, when we share our data through household surveys, censuses, administrative data, but also there are other ways in which citizens can really help in the production of data through civil society organizations, data collection, or other ways citizens can produce data and then communicate them.
As a director of a national statistical office, I can say we need the collaboration. Why? Because NSOs cannot do everything. And if we are describing a society, we need to represent everyone that belongs to it and with every needs.
And it provides the access to data that NSOs do not have the capacity, the finances, or the logistical wherewithal to be able to provide.
Since 2018, we've been involved in citizen-generated data. We have trained over 800 young volunteers from marginalized communities, 60% of them being women.
The Indigenous Navigator is a unique framework for and by indigenous people that monitors the level of implementation of the human rights and the fundamental freedom of indigenous peoples.
To advance reform in the area of discrimination, hate crime, and domestic violence.
Mandate that we received from the Statistical Commission. And this is not a small thing, right? This is a mandate to work on a challenging topic from a very, very conservative community. Right?
The world needs data, not just to monitor progress, but to make it happen. UNSD's work connects evidence to action, data to policy, and people to the promise of the SDGs. Every number represents a life, and every dataset, a step toward a sustainable future. Let's make the next 5 years count. Explore our platforms. SDG Report 2025, SDGs Data Portals, Data for Now Initiative, Collaboratives on Administrative Data and Citizen Data, and the UN World Data Forum. Join the global community, turning data into action for people and planet.
In our next presentation, I'm excited to introduce the 2025 System of National Accounts, or SNA, a bold step towards how we measure our economies in a changing world. The new SNA reflects 17 years of economic transformation driven by digitalization and globalization, while at the same time responding to calls for a broader focus on well-being and sustainability. This revision ensures macroeconomic statistics remain relevant and people-centered.
In a world transformed by digital innovation, global interconnectedness, and new challenges to well-being and sustainability, how we measure our economies must evolve. The 2025 SNA is more than an update. It's a bold step forward, designed to capture the realities of today and tomorrow. Adopted by the international statistical community in March 2025, the new SNA empowers policymakers, researchers, and citizens with clearer, more relevant, and more accessible economic statistics. Let's take a moment to reflect on why the system of national accounts needed an update. Since the release of the 2008 SNA, our world has changed dramatically. We've seen the rise of digitalization, which has transformed how businesses operate and how we measure economic activity. The 2025 SNA introduces changes to make national accounts more relevant for tracking digital innovation, intangible assets, and platform-based activities. For instance, data are now treated as separate produced assets. It also now has guidance on measuring cloud services, artificial intelligence, digital intermediation platforms, and coverage of online platforms, free digital products, and crypto assets. There is also guidance to compile digital supply and use tables to track the flows of digital goods and services. On the next topic, globalization has connected markets and people in ways we couldn't have imagined just a decade ago. It has also resulted in the rise of global value chains coordinated by multinational enterprises and factoryless producers, where production is now broken down into smaller stages in different countries. The 2025 SNA now has guidance on these arrangements. On the next point, there's a growing focus on well-being and sustainability, pushing us to look beyond traditional economic indicators and consider the broader impact of our decisions. More on this topic will be presented on key innovations beyond GDP. We're also recognizing the importance of Islamic finance and the informal economy, ensuring our statistics reflect the diversity of financial systems and economic participation. On the next point, the financial sector itself has evolved, introducing new products and risks that our accounts must capture. And finally, we know that communicating economic statistics in a user-friendly way is more important than ever, so that everyone, from policymakers to the public, can understand and use this vital information. GDP is essential, but it doesn't fully reflect well-being, distribution, or environmental impact when shaping policies. It's important to remember that GDP is just one component of the broader system of national accounts. The SNA provides a comprehensive statistical framework for organizing credible, comparable, and authoritative data on economic activity for all countries. The SNA can contribute meaningfully to measuring well-being and sustainability. It offers a wide range of data and aggregate measures, such as household disposable income, consumption, and wealth, that inform discussions on material well-being. The SNA's rules can also be extended to cover social and environmental dimensions, for example, through the System of Environmental Economic Accounting, or SEA. The 2025 SNA strengthens these contributions, though a comprehensive assessment of well-being always requires additional measures beyond the SNA. The 2025 SNA introduces several key changes beyond GDP. Enhanced focus on net measures like net domestic product and net national income. Recognition of depletion as a cost of production. Natural capital is now a separate asset class. Explicit recognition of renewable energy resources and improved accounting for non-renewable resources. More guidance on biological resources, emission permits, and household production of electricity. New data items on ESG financing and assets supporting the energy transition. There's now more attention to distributional issues, with standard breakdowns of households by income decile and other criteria. The SNA also features a more detailed set of labor accounts, aligned with international standards. The SNA encourages developing thematic and extended accounts to support well-being analysis, such as accounts for unpaid household services, health and social conditions, education and training, experimental measures of human capital. The target date for implementing the 2025 SNA is 2029-30. A successful implementation requires a comprehensive strategy and a technical cooperation program. Continued development of guidance and training materials is essential. The 2025 SNA is a leap forward in relevance, clarity, and inclusivity. It equips us to understand and shape economies in a changing world. On this World Statistics Day, let's explore the exciting possibilities for measuring the economy. For more information on the SNA update process and other useful information, please visit us at our website.
And now, welcome to a brief session on the United Nations ComTrade database, the world's most comprehensive platform for global trade data. As we celebrate World Statistics Day, let's take a closer look at the evolution, scale, and impact of the UN ComTrade. We will see how detailed and reliable trade statistics continue to influence evidence-based decision-making in the global economy.
Welcome to the world's most comprehensive global trade data platform, the United Nations ComTrade database. This resource compiles detailed annual and monthly merchandise trade statistics by product and trading partner, along with statistics on trade and services by category. Designed for use by governments, academia, research institutions, and enterprises, it empowers you with the data you need to make informed decisions. Extracting data is simple and versatile. Our platform offers a variety of formats, including API developer tools, allowing you to seamlessly integrate trade data into your enterprise applications and workflows. For subscribers, we provide additional functionality to enhance efficiency and specificity, ensuring you get the most out of our comprehensive resources. So, whether you're conducting research, analyzing trends, or making critical business decisions, the United Nations ComTrade database is your gateway to global trade insights. Let's take a quick journey through the history of UN ComTrade. After World War II, the world needed a way to standardize and monitor trade data. In 1950, the United Nations introduced the Standard International Trade Classification, making it easier for countries to report and compare trade. By 1963, global trade data was published annually, and in 1967, UN ComTrade became a digital repository, moving away from manual records. Today, UN ComTrade is a modern, interactive platform supporting big data and AI and empowering users worldwide with reliable trade statistics. Let's take a closer look at the scale of the UN ComTrade database. UN ComTrade manages tens of billions of trade records, making it one of the largest and most comprehensive trade data platforms in the world. The database contains over 300,000 data files, with more than 1.5 terabytes of zipped files available for analysis and download. The platform continues to grow rapidly. Each month, around 3,000 new data files are added, contributing an additional 400 gigabytes of uncompressed text files. This means that every month, the database expands by about 1 billion new records. This immense volume of data ensures that users have access to the latest and most comprehensive global trade data. The platform streams over 22.6 billion records, supporting nearly 780,000 API calls or page views, and delivering more than 400 gigabytes of files downloaded by users on a daily basis. Over its lifetime, UN ComTrade has served 250,000 registered users and tens of millions of anonymous users, streaming trillions of records and supporting hundreds of millions of data requests. UN ComTrade is a tool that supports a wide range of global trade analysis and decision-making processes. With its comprehensive data, policymakers can formulate effective trade policies and plan for economic growth. Market analysts use the platform to identify trends and opportunities, while governments and organizations monitor trade agreements and measure economic performance. UN ComTrade also plays a crucial role in tracking global value chains, assessing infrastructure needs, and analyzing commodity balances. Its data helps evaluate the impact of trade on sustainability, as well as on social and well-being indicators. By combining trade data with other datasets, such as investment, employment, and production, users gain even deeper insights, enabling more informed and impactful decisions in the world of international trade. The Economic Statistics branch of the UN Statistics Division is currently revising the Trade Statistics Manual of IMTS for merchandise trade and SITS for services trade. They will enable more comprehensive and accurate data collection in key areas shaping today's economy: globalization, digitalization, sustainability, and well-being. These enhancements are designed to align with and support the revised macroeconomic statistical frameworks of the System of National Accounts and the Balance of Payments, ensuring consistency and relevance in a rapidly evolving global landscape. Without UN Comtrade, trade data would be fragmented and less transparent, making cross-country comparisons difficult. This would lead to weaker evidence-based policies, higher costs for data access, and barriers to innovation. Monitoring global development and making informed decisions would be much harder. We would like to share some testimonials from UN Comtrade users.
Thank you for the perfect tool to show my students how the global trade works. It trains their thinking and Excel skills, and makes my course practical. In the future, they use Comtrade to conduct their thesis and make own consulting projects.
The Trade Data Report has become an essential reference in my work. I use UN Comtrade regularly to follow global trade flows and price trends, and it provides valuable visibility into market movements at no cost.
UN Comtrade. Free detailed global trade data for people and platforms.
Classifications and business statistics are the cornerstone of statistical systems. Without them, the world of data lacks consistency and common frameworks. They are essential to support the implementation of the 2025 System of National Accounts, which we've talked about a bit earlier. Now, we will present the Statistical Division's foundational work in these two areas.
Data drive today's world. They shape policies, guide businesses, and influence lives. But reliable data don't happen by chance. They rely on structure, standards, and coordination. The United Nations Statistics Division builds that structure through two closely connected areas of work: international statistical classifications and business statistics, together forming the foundation of coherent, comparable, and meaningful global data. Classifications are the foundation of statistical work. They provide a shared language of concepts, definitions, and categories, ensuring a consistent approach to organizing data across countries and sectors. By simplifying the complexity of the real world, classifications create a framework for collecting, organizing, and analyzing information, forming the very foundation of official statistics. They enable international comparability, support the development of national classifications, and ensure that data are grouped clearly and logically for meaningful analysis. In doing so, they can be used for collecting and organizing statistical information, aggregating and disaggregating datasets in meaningful ways for complex analysis, which in turn can support policy and decision-making, and assist developed countries and their official statistical programs. An example of international statistical classification is the Standard Industrial Classification of All Economic Activities, ISIC, which classifies economic activities at detailed levels in an internationally comparable, standardized way. Countries around the world use ISIC as their national activity classification. ISIC has a four-level structure of mutually exclusive categories. The tabulation categories, identified by letters, are called sections. The two-digit categories, divisions. The three-digit categories, groups, and the four-digit categories, classes. It has become an internationally accepted way of subdividing the overall economy into useful coherent industries that are widely recognized and used in economic analysis, used as indicators of economic activity. You can see from the example here on how the weaving of textile is classified in ISIC. It is part of the manufacturing industry in ISIC, classified into successively more detailed categories based on types of goods produced as output, in this case textile, and method of production, in this case weaving. Wide use has been made of ISIC, both nationally and internationally, in classifying data according to the kind of economic activity. ISIC are the cornerstone of all economic statistics. Without them, there is no output, there is no consistency, and there are no common frameworks on how economic activity is being counted. The United Nations Statistics Division is responsible for the development and maintenance of a number of economic classifications to produce national accounts, business and trade statistics. It also maintains the International Family of Statistical Classifications, a repository of international statistical classifications adopted by the UN Statistical Commission or other relevant intergovernmental bodies, covering all statistical domains. The work is important to ensure harmonization and convergence in the development of the statistical classifications at the international level. Business statistics provide information on the structure, economic activity, dynamism and performance of businesses considering the increasing complexity of business models and fast-changing and uncertain economic environment. In the area of business statistics, United Nations Statistics Division develops standards and methodologies to support national statistical authorities and other producers of statistical data in the collection, compilation, and dissemination of business statistics. It aims to enhance the quality, comparability, and accessibility of business statistics, ensuring they effectively capture economic activity, structural changes, and global business dynamics. Part of the division work program on business statistics is on Statistical Business Register, which is the backbone of the statistical system. It is an essential element of the statistical infrastructure to support the coherence and consistency of statistics produced. They play a central role in the production of economic statistics. UNSD supports countries through global guidelines and the exchange of good practices to strengthen statistical business register worldwide. The division also conducts regular global assessment to assess status of implementation of the statistical business registers across countries to identify priority areas for technical assistance. Another element of the UNSD work on Statistical Business Register is the development of a Global Enterprise Group Register. The Multinational Enterprise Information Platform, or MEIP, is a joint initiative of UNSD and OECD, offers valuable insights into global economic activity and enterprise structure. MEIP tracks the world's largest multinational enterprises, mapping ownership, digital presence, and media activity, to improve understanding of global value chains and the impact of globalization. The work program on classifications and business statistics are essential to support the implementation of the System of National Accounts 2025. The SNA framework is built around a number of classification systems. The ability to compile internationally comparable national account statistics is underpinned on the availability of business statistics and well-developed economic classifications and statistical business register. International statistical classifications and business statistics are essential pillars of the global data ecosystem. At the United Nations Statistics Division, we work together with countries and international partners through the committees of experts to strengthen global statistical standards. Together, we strengthen the role of statistics in shaping informed decisions and advancing sustainable development for all. To learn more about our work on international classifications and business statistics, visit us at the webpages listed here. Through global statistical standards and reliable data, we foster cooperation, advance progress, and build a better future for all.
And now we switch gear to another important area of work of the Statistics Division, and that relates to the environment where we live in. The next segment will look at Statistics in Action for a Thriving Planet, which will provide an overview of UNSD's work on monitoring the status of the environment and the interconnections between the environment and the economy. It will highlight the importance of data and statistics in support of global conventions such as the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework.
Happy World Statistics Day. My name is Ilaria Di Matteo, and I'm the Chief of the Environmental Economic Accounting Section of the United Nations Statistics Division. This is part of a larger branch of the division that covers energy statistics, environment statistics, and environmental accounting. We join the global community in recognizing the indispensable role of statistics in shaping up our world. As the Secretary General highlighted in his message, this day put a spotlight on the vital role of statistics in helping us addressing the challenges of our time. And what are challenges we face? From climate change and biodiversity loss to pollution and deforestation, environmental crises confronting us are urgent, complex, and deeply interconnected. These issues affect every aspect of our life, from the air we breathe to the ecosystem that sustains us, and they demand informed and coordinated action. This is where statistics come in. Statistics are not just numbers. They are the foundation of evidence-based decision-making. They help us monitor environmental trends, assess the impact of policies, and guide sustainable development. Without timely, accurate, disaggregated, trusted, and independent data, we are navigating these challenges in the dark. Today's segment of our celebration focuses on the work of the Statistics Division in 4 key areas: environment statistics, environmental economic accounting, energy statistics, and climate change. Through this effort, we're building the data infrastructure needed to understand the pressure on our planet and to respond effectively. For example, environment statistics provide information about the state and changes of the environmental condition, the quality and availability of environmental resources, the impact of human activities and natural events on the environment, and the impact of changing environmental conditions. Environmental economic accounts help us measure how the environment contributes to the economy and how the economy activity impacts the environment. Energy statistics tracks, among other things, our transition towards renewable sources and provide the basis for measuring emissions. Climate change statistics help us quantify emission, measure impacts and vulnerability, and monitor adaptation and mitigation efforts. These data are essential not only for government and policymakers, but also for scientists, civil society, and the public. They empower us all to identify paths for change, hold institutions accountable, and build a more sustainable future. So on this World Statistics Day, let us celebrate the power of data. Behind the number, there is a broad community of statisticians, data scientists, and decision makers, as well as institutions working tirelessly behind the scene to produce relevant and high-quality data. In the next 3 segments, we will focus on specific topics of the work of our branch, and we will highlight the importance of data and statistics in support of the convention, such as the Paris Agreement and the Kunming-Montreal Global Framework Convention. From us all to you, happy World Statistics Day.
My name is Emil Ivanov, and I work at the Environment Statistics section of the UN Statistics Division. This presentation introduces UNSD's program on environment and climate change statistics, which is about 30 years old by now. It started with a mandate given by the Statistical Commission in 1995, requesting UNSD to initiate environmental data collection. The actual data collection started in 1999, focused on water and waste. In 2013, the Commission adopted the framework for the development of environment statistics, which afterwards was addressed with several implementation support tools, mainly the manual for environment statistics with about 17 chapters developed by now, and also a self-assessment tool called ESAT. In 2016, the Commission requested UNSD to develop a global set of climate indicators. The actual set was adopted in 2022, and consequent efforts focused again on supporting countries with adequate implementation support tools. This included implementation guidelines and another self-assessment tool called CSAT. The objectives of the FDES are to help countries to set up their own national programs on environment statistics. It also serves as an instrument of capacity development, which many international and regional agencies are using, and that helps to enhance data quality and comparability internationally. The implementation tools that I just mentioned can be accessed here, as well as the FDES translated into the 6 UN official languages. Now, let's turn some attention on climate change. In support of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, which was signed in 1992 in Rio, and its Paris Agreement that was signed in 2015, all countries are now required to develop their national planning instruments called Nationally Determined Contributions, NDCs, and National Adaptation Plans, NAPs. Reporting is done via the biennial transparency reports, with the first cycle of this reporting ongoing. And all of this amounts at internationally comparable data via the global stock takes taking place every 5 years. Since the Paris Agreement did not prescribe what indicators and what statistics are needed in the reporting processes, the global set was developed to specifically address that need. It contains 158 indicators and 190 statistics. It links carefully to the related frameworks, including the Sustainable Development Goals, the Sendai framework, with the statistics from various sources. Most of them are coming from the FDS. This is intended to support countries to carry out independent national policy evaluations to enhance comparability at international level and to advance the subject generally. We have seen that a number of institutions internationally have been using this framework as well as in capacity development, as well as in support of further methodology development. In the current reporting cycle of the biennial transparency reports, there are 4 components which require data and statistics, and the global set can particularly support the reporting by countries from the list of indicators that help to inform progress towards implementing the nationally determined contributions and the national adaptation plans. Of course, many of the statistics included in the global set are also useful in the GHG compilation processes and other steps. In support of the global set, we developed implementation guidelines which briefly aim, on one hand, to inform national statistical offices what are the key bits to learn about climate change, and on the other, they inform in particular the national focal points to UNFCCC what are the benefits of engaging with official statistics. It is also translated into the 6 official languages of the UN and available on our website. The other implementation support tool that I mentioned, CSAT, is the place where the global set can be accessed in its most detailed form. This includes all the indicators, and it's accompanied by short metadata for each of them. All this work has been supported by our expert group, the Expert Group on Environment and Climate Change Statistics. It started meeting annually since 2014, initially focused mostly on the implementation of the FDES, also supporting the processes on water and waste data collection, and gradually expanded to cover more climate-related aspects. This year, decision of the Statistical Commission endorsed its expansion and restructuring. Now it contains also subgroups. One subgroup addresses climate questions to be introduced into censuses and surveys. Another one is focused on integrating climate and health statistics, and there are other processes also addressing gender, big data, support to coordination and capacity development activities. The last meeting of the expert group that we had in September in London highlighted the increasing use of the global set and the FDS and the need for their revision, considering that a number of new methodologies, indicators, and guidance are being developed, particularly in the areas of health, gender, disasters, etc. And all of those certainly require enhanced capacity development support. That was my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention, and further information can be obtained from our website.
Hello. As part of the World Statistics Day 2025, I would like to briefly talk about the importance of energy statistics and UNSD's work in the area. I don't need to explain climate change here and the role that greenhouse gases play in warming the planet. But to contextualize matters, I can start with the link between fossil fuel consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. The combustion of fossil fuels emit emits carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, and too much of these gases can throw the greenhouse effect off balance, and that's what warms our planet. In the area of energy, there is a need to emit less greenhouse gases, and this can be achieved by increasing renewable energy shares and by improving energy efficiency. These are the twin goals that were recognized in the SDG through the Goal 7 on energy. But this is a celebration of World Statistics Day. So why am I talking about this? Well, I'm here to talk about the role that energy statistics play in monitoring emissions. This graph you can see displays global emissions from fossil fuel combustion since 1950, according to the IPCC guidelines, and this data were calculated directly from our database on energy statistics. We collect data from all the countries and make it available to the public. And this graph, it was published in our Energy Statistics Pocketbook 2025. If we see in the graph, per capita emissions seem to have stagnated globally. But as population grows, so does the amount of greenhouse gases emitted to the atmosphere. And how can energy statistics help the energy transition? Well, in reducing fossil fuel consumption, the Sustainable Development Goals recognize the twin goals of decreasing energy intensity in total energy supply and increasing the share of renewables and final energy consumption. These two indicators are based on energy balances produced according to the harmonized methodology contained in the International Recommendations for Energy Statistics. So, all this monitoring is based on the compilation of complete energy balances. According to this methodology, the International Recommendations for Energy Statistics, which were produced with the participation of international organizations, countries, and wide participation for everybody. And that's why it's a harmonized methodology, which is compatible with the IPCC methodology. And UNSD helps countries to learn this methodology by conducting training. We conduct training, regional trainings and trainings for countries, and these are just some examples of some of the trainings we carried out, and together we can make good use of energy statistics to leverage our actions toward climate goals.
Hello everybody, my name is Steve King and I work in the Environmental Economic Accounting section of the Environmental Statistics and Geospatial Information branch here at the UN Statistics Division. So over the next 5 minutes or so, I'd like to provide an overview of the system of environmental economic accounting and how we're using it to support the implementation of the Convention on Biological Diversity's Global Biodiversity Framework. Unfortunately, it is now widely recognised that biodiversity, the variety of life on Earth, is declining at rates unprecedented in human history. This degradation of nature has wide-ranging implications for people across the planet. We depend on biodiversity for food, medicine, energy, clean air and water, security from natural disasters, as well as recreation, and it is a source of cultural inspiration. It supports all systems of life on Earth. The system of environmental economic accounting has been developed as a response from the statistics community to provide an integrated information system to help us understand these relationships between the environment, economy, and people's well-being. And this World Statistics Day is an opportunity to celebrate the accomplishments of developing an internationally agreed framework for environmental economic accounting. And whilst this has been led by the statistical community, it has been supported by a broad range of experts, including ecologists, economists, alongside statisticians, and this has really been crucial to its success. And we can see these guys coming together to spell out SEER in the slide here. The SEER framework comprises of two parts, a central framework and an ecosystem accounting framework, the SEER EA. The SEER EA is spatially based and provides an integrated set of accounting tables on ecosystems and the services they provide. These accounts are presented in both physical and monetary units. And the framework itself is also designed to be coherent with the system of national accounts. So the SEER EA counts start by tracking the extent of different ecosystem assets, like forests, alongside accounting for the condition of those assets, using indicators like soil depth. So these accounts of the stocks of ecosystem assets, the ecosystem extent and condition accounts, are integrated with the accounts on the services that these ecosystems supply, such as water filtration and the users of those services, or the beneficiaries of those services. So the system reveals the relationships between the state of nature, but also the benefits nature provides to people and the economy. So this can be considered in decision making. The SEER EA is based on agreed concepts, definitions, classifications, and counting rules. And so this means that indicators derived from the framework have certain properties that make them well suited for action. For instance, the accounting framework means that inconsistencies in data over both space and time can be identified and more easily confronted. The accounting system is comprehensive as well, accounting for all ecosystem types and a wide range of ecosystem services. Also, as an information system, the SEER EA enables us to organize a broad range of data on the environment and economy into accounts in an integrated and coherent manner. And this is important because it means the measurements of extent are coherent with those of condition and services, but also the economic information that is more widely organized in the system of national accounts. These qualities of comprehensiveness, consistency, and coherence mean the SEER EA supports the calculation of robust and actionable indicators for a wide range of policy and planning purposes. And an important example of this is the Global Biodiversity Framework of the Convention on Biological Diversity, where the SEER is being used to deliver statistics for implementing a key global policy. So the GBF was recently adopted by countries around the world to rebalance our relationship with nature. It sets out an ambitious pathway to reach a vision of a world where people and nature are thriving together by 2050. It's supported by a monitoring framework, and this explicitly recognises the role of statistical standards in providing high quality, relevant and coherent data. And the SEER EA itself is recommended as the basis for calculating several of the indicators for the monitoring framework. This includes the headline indicators for the extent of natural ecosystems and services provided by ecosystems. So via our EU-funded project on SEER-related indicators for the GBF, UNSD will be working with countries and partners to develop compilation guidance, global data sets and tools, and to help countries around the world to calculate and report on these two indicators using an ecosystem accounting approach and the SEER EA framework. So if you want to learn more about that, please do visit our SEER ecosystem accounting web pages and our webpage for the project. So thank you very much for your attention and a very happy World Statistics Day.
In the next part, we will explore how we can drive change with quality data for everyone. The presentation highlights the two essential pillars of modern statistics, trust and innovation. Trust is the cornerstone of official statistics, showing how the fundamental principles of official statistics safeguard professional independence, confidentiality, and quality. Building on this foundation, we will see how data innovation can help ensure food security, manage natural resources, and respond to crises. We will see how the integration of social, economic, and environmental data can provide a holistic, human-centric view of progress that measures what truly matters.
Hello, and happy World Statistics Day. My name is Amr Noor, and I'm the Chief of the Data Innovation and Capacity Branch at the UN Statistics Division. Today, this year, we celebrate under the theme, Driving Change with Quality Statistics and Data for Everyone. Data and statistics have never been more vital. We live in an era in which new technologies like artificial intelligence are transforming our world. This offers a historic opportunity to accelerate progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, from ending poverty to protecting our planet. Yet, it also brings a serious risk, a new artificial intelligence divide that could leave many countries behind, widening existing inequalities. We still recall how the digital divide came to bear on critical aspects of the functioning of our societies during the COVID-19 pandemic, whether on health, education, work, trade, communication, and others. We cannot allow this divide to grow and get even deeper with artificial intelligence. Here at the UN Statistics Division, in the Data Innovation and Capacity branch, our mission is to build a global statistical system that is inclusive, ethical, and fit for purpose. We believe that to truly drive change for everyone, we must combine two essential elements. First, a strong, unshakable foundation of trust, ensuring data is handled responsibly. And second, innovation, to turn that trusted data into life-changing insights. We work every day to empower countries with both pillars of this vision. It all begins with ensuring that every national statistical office has the right principles and a modern playbook to work from. To tell you more about that crucial foundation of trust, here is Gabriel Games, Chief of our Statistical Capacity Management section.
Hello, everyone, and happy World Statistics Day.
Trust is the foundation of official statistics. In a world flooded with data, trust determines which numbers shape our understanding and guide our actions. The fundamental principles of official statistics, endorsed by the United Nations General Assembly in 2014, provide the enduring framework that makes official statistics distinct from any other data. Guided by these principles, official statistics provide an objective picture of society and serve the common good by transforming data into actionable knowledge that supports accountability and strengthens trust in public information. They form the backbone of evidence-based decision-making and monitoring of progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. Before going further, let us hear from two colleagues who share their perspectives at the margins of the last Statistical Commission in March 2025 on what makes official statistics distinctive and why the fundamental principles remain so essential.
So official statistics, as we know, is guided by the 10 fundamental principles. And from my perspective, with the evolution in the diversity of data sources, what we really need to think about is the practical utility of the statistics that we're putting out there, and also the ability to prevent the misuse of official statistics. And this is what we have to grapple with as a statistical community. For us to ensure that official statistics is trusted, from my point of view, we need to continue with the issues around transparency of the processes to ensure that people still appreciate the fact that it is following the scientific principles, and also making this available to not only to the producers of data, but to users as well. And by so doing, we maintain or we ensure that the official statistics that we produce are trusted.
The environment and the way that it is evolving at this time, I think it even highlights even more the importance of official statistics, highlights even more the value of the data that we produce. And it's an opportunity for us to build the case for why official statistics are important, to ensure that we have a seat at the table when development planning is being done and that our data is used for this purpose. And that we are able as NSOs, as chief statisticians, to sell the importance, to to make it known why this data is important and how we can contribute to making development planning, to making interventions more efficient and more impactful. And specifically myself as the head of the NSO, my responsibility, I think, is in being that salesperson for our official statistics, in being the voice to policymakers and explaining to them what it is that we bring to the table, getting them to see the value of what we do, not just for purposes of ensuring that we secure investment in the data for ourselves, but also that others out there see the value of what is being invested in us.
These reflections from Ghana and Belize remind us that trust and independence are not abstract concepts, but lived realities for national statistical officers around the world. Let us now briefly recall the 10 principles. They start with a commitment to relevance, impartiality, and equal access, ensuring that statistics address users' needs, are created without bias, and are accessible to everyone simultaneously. Next is professional independence, ensuring that statistical decisions are based on scientific methods and ethical judgment, free from undue influence. We must also uphold accountability and transparency by being open about how data is collected and processed so that users can understand and trust the results. Another principle involves preventing misuse and clarifying when statistics are misinterpreted or taken out of context. Sources of official statistics may include surveys, administrative records, or new digital data, such as geospatial information and big data. They should be selected with careful consideration of quality, cost, and the response burden on data providers. Confidentiality is a key pillar of official statistics. Information provided by individuals or organizations must be used exclusively for statistical purposes and handled with the highest safeguards to protect privacy. This protection encourages honest reporting by respondents, ensuring the accuracy of the final statistical product. Embedding these principles within strong legal frameworks ensures accountability. It promotes effective institutional mechanisms to guarantee coordination, coherence, and efficiency across the national statistical system. By adhering to international standards, we make data comparable across borders, and through international cooperation, we strengthen capacities and build trust globally. Let us now hear from colleagues who shared how these principles are applied in practice, particularly for Principle 2, professional independence, and Principle 6, on confidentiality.
Well, I think in terms of selecting the most important among the principles on official statistics, I would pick Principle 2, professional standards, scientific principles, and professional ethics on all our work on the production of official statistics. These are very important items in Principle 2 because, it's important that our stakeholders trust official statistics and to make sure that we have the trust of the stakeholders on all the work, all the, official statistics that we produce. They have to know that these are produced using professional standard, utilizing scientific principles. You have the strong methodology and, of course, ethics of those that are collecting, analyzing, and producing, reporting the data. A mistrust on official statistics would be very dangerous. In fact, I would say if people mistrust official statistics, then that's the end of the country because people can have their own statistics. So in the era of fake news, the national statistical offices should be very strong, and people should trust the work of official statistician.
So the fundamental principles of official statistics, as I said, they're all good, right? But my two favorite principles are confidentiality and professional independence. Confidentiality for me is very important because it is fundamental to building trust in what we do. Respondents have to know that when they give us their information, it is confidential and it is something that is safe with the NSO. So that is one of my favorite principles, if I may say so. Another one, though, is professional independence. We know that oftentimes what you have is that there's interference in the work of the NSO. And this again goes to the fundamental core tenet of building trust in official statistics. So maintaining and preserving professional independence is particularly important. And these guide how we operate in terms of how we interact with other entities. We ensure that we guard the NSO by ensuring that one, for example, with our staff, all staff members have to sign a declaration confirming that you understand that you must preserve and protect all confidential information, as well as we actively take measures to ensure we safeguard the professional independence of the organization. So those are my two favorite.
These reflections from the Philippines and Jamaica highlight how professional independence and confidentiality reinforce one another. This enduring foundation of trust is what enables responsible innovation. It makes official statistics a true driver of sustainable development and of the collective transformation that this World Statistics Day calls upon us all to advance. Let us listen to one final reflection from Singapore on how these principles continue to guide us in a fast-changing data environment.
There's a lot of data that's coming on board now. In Singapore, we have all the administrative registers getting ready, and our role is to integrate all the data together to make sure that it's complete, comprehensive, and we make better use of the data at our disposal. In one way, we are also replacing some of the surveys that we have with administrative data. It will reduce respondent burden, and to maintain the public trust in the data indicators that we are producing, we have a full set of methodological notes to explain when we switch from survey source to admin source, what's a sampling error like, for example, what's the quality of the stats that's being produced, and if there's a trend break, we explain the trend break. So it's transparent. Everybody knows when there's a switch, there's a bit of a change, but as long as we explain the change, the integrity of the data indicators that we produce continue to be maintained and continue to be used by members of the public and government officials.
This message from Singapore reminds us that even as technologies evolve, the value of trust, integrity, and independence remain timeless. At the United Nations Statistics Division, we work every day with countries to uphold these principles so that national statistical systems remain resilient, innovative, and trusted. On that note, I hand over to my colleague Luis Gonzalez, Chief of the Data Innovation Section at the United Nations Statistics Division, who will illustrate how innovation is turning these principles into action.
Happy World Statistics Day. We at the United Nations Statistics Division are so grateful for the opportunity to work with our partners around the world to harness the immense power of data science, big data, and AI for the public good. As a statistical community, we are finding new ways of understanding our world, focusing on practical solutions that can be implemented in our day-to-day. For example, the task teams under the Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science are helping countries use satellite imagery and Earth observation data to improve agricultural statistics. By using AI to analyze these images, statisticians can help create detailed crop type maps and even forecast yields. This provides vital, timely information for ensuring food security and managing natural resources. With our partners, we are also exploring the responsible use of anonymized mobile phone data. These can provide invaluable insights into population mobility, which is critical for everything from planning public transport and managing tourism to responding effectively during natural disasters and health crises.
And we are helping data scientists analyze real-time data from ships moving across our oceans so we can get a high-frequency picture of global trade and supply chains, even calculate maritime CO2 emissions to better understand environmental impacts. We are also continuously innovating to make the world's statistical data easier to find and to access, and most importantly, easier to use by everyone. And an example of this is the UN data platform, which we are transforming into a common authoritative entry point for all UN statistics. Under the guidance of the UN Statistical Commission, we are implementing a state-of-the-art architecture that combines knowledge graph technologies with modern interoperability standards. And this is helping us make statistical data from across the UN system AI ready, fundamentally changing how people interact with information. Our goal is to move from the paradigm of finding data to getting answers, enabling dynamic visualizations and richer cross-domain discovery. In all these efforts, one of our main objectives is to democratize access to data innovation. That is the vision behind the UN Global Platform for Official Statistics, a collaborative environment where experts from around the world can access powerful computing, massive datasets, and shared tools through their web browser. It levels the playing field, ensuring that every country has the opportunity to innovate. Thank you for celebrating with us. Let me pass now the floor back to Amr Noor, who will share some final thoughts.
The work of official statistics today combines cutting-edge innovation with an unwavering foundation of trust. As the UN marks its 80th anniversary, we are building capacity and innovating to deliver for the people we serve. We are helping to shape an inclusive, safe, and sustainable data-driven future for all, as envisioned in the Global Digital Compact adopted by all countries of the United Nations. By promoting responsible data governance and exploring the ethical frontiers of artificial intelligence, we are ensuring these transformative technologies serve humanity and accelerate progress on the Sustainable Development Goals. This transformation allows us to redefine what we measure and why. For too long, progress has been viewed narrowly through an economic growth lens, but the global challenges we share demand more from us as statisticians. Innovative data sources, methods, and technologies now enable us to measure what truly matters to people: the health of our environment, the strength of our communities, the quality of our lives. This is the future of statistics, integrating social, economic, and environmental data to move beyond simple aggregates and provide a holistic, human-centric, and forward-looking view of people, prosperity, and planet. The challenges our world faces are immense, but our optimism is greater. We have the tools, we have the principles, and we have the global commitment to build a better future. Here at the UN Statistics Division and through our branch of data innovation and capacity, we are dedicated to harnessing the power of data for the advancement of well-being for all. On behalf of our entire team, thank you for joining us. We remain committed to driving change with quality statistics and data for everyone. Happy World Statistics.
This World Statistics Day, we celebrate 5 years of the global network and the power of data to shape our future. 5 years ago, on World Statistics Day, we launched the global network of data officers and statisticians. Since then, it has grown into a vibrant community of thousands of experts around the world. Through webinars and exchanges, the global network has brought us together to share knowledge on topics from climate change and health to migration, innovation, and the Sustainable Development Goals. It is built on 4 pillars: connection, coordination, collaboration, and capacity development. The 4 C's that drive our work. For many, the global network is more than a platform. It is a space to connect with colleagues across regions, to exchange best practices, and to strengthen the role of statistics in building a better future. Now, as we celebrate 5 years of progress, we invite you to be part of this journey. Join our global network of data officers and statisticians by subscribing to our newsletter and joining our LinkedIn group to learn about opportunities ahead. Engage with colleagues worldwide. Together, we make statistics matter for everyone, everywhere.
And item 11. So over the past 24 hours, we have moved from Asia and the Pacific to Western Asia and on to Africa, Europe, and Latin America and the Caribbean. And finally, to the United Nations headquarters in New York. We have heard statisticians from many countries talk about their work and achievements and their vision for the future. It is now time to hear highlights from this journey.
And now our event has come to a close. In conclusion, we will hear Shantanu Mukherjee, Acting Director of the UN Statistics Division, who will say a few words about the marathon and the World Statistics Day.
On behalf of all my colleagues at UNSD, I would like to thank you everyone for participating in this event today. It has been a real pleasure for me to participate in this event. But now, unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye.
We hope that you enjoy our presentations, and if you would like to see them again, we welcome you to view our YouTube channel, which will be available on the UN Statistics Division website. Goodbye.